Namaskaram and good evening all. Let's start with the new chapter, which is capital gain. My dear students, I always say capital gain is a chapter of exception. Capital gain is a chapter of exception. Sir, what do you mean by chapter of exception? So usually, please understand, in income tax law, income is taxable. In income tax law, income is taxable, and income is ordinarily considered as a revenue receipt. Income is ordinarily considered as a revenue receipt. Some examples: income from salary, income from house property, your PGBP, your interest, your interest, your dividend. All these are revenue receipts. Revenue receipts are taxable in their respective head. Salary is taxable in income from salary. House property is taxable under income from house property. PGBP taxable in PGBP. Interest, dividend, royalty, rental income taxable in IFOS. So all these are revenue heads, my dear friend. Okay. But when you sell house property, when you sell your land, when you sell your jewelry, when you sell your shares, that time you get the lump sum income, and that income cannot be considered as a revenue income. It's a capital receipt. It's a capital receipt. Okay. And capital receipts are by default not taxable, but exceptionally made taxable in the law in the chapter of capital gain. Please understand this. When we talk about taxation of the receipts in income tax law, there are two types of receipt. In this universe, there are two types of receipt. There are revenue receipts versus there are capital receipts. There are revenue receipts and there are capital receipts. By default, my dear friends, all revenue receipts are taxable. All revenue receipts are taxable. We don't have taxable revenue receipt list. We say all the receipts in income tax law taxable. Therefore, we say our income tax law is a comprehensive law. Yeah, if you want to exempt certain receipt, then we have to provide that in section 10 exemption. Okay, so we may exempt certain receipts, and if certain receipts are exempted, no tax on those receipts. Apart from exempted income, everything else is a taxable. We don't have to give you taxable list. By default, everything else is a taxable, my dear friends. But when I talk about capital receipts, loan is a capital receipt, not taxable. Gift from parents is a capital receipt, not taxable. Please understand. So usually issue of shares is a capital receipt, not taxable. Usually capital receipts are not taxable, but certain capital receipts should be taxable because their assessee literally earns a very good amount of money. Asset worth rupees 10 lakh, he has purchased for 10 lakh. Right now he is selling it for 500 lakh. Then this should become taxable because assessee is going to earn 490 lakh rupees as a capital gain. So we are not going to leave this particular capital receipts. Therefore, in the universe of capital receipt, everything is not taxable. Please understand, all capital receipts are not taxable. All capital receipts are not taxable. Only and only selected, specific, only specified capital receipts are taxable. Okay. What is the difference between revenue receipts and capital receipts? Please understand here. Usually in income tax, all revenue receipts are taxable. Okay. Salary is taxable, allowance is taxable, rent from house property taxable, business income taxable. Usually every revenue receipt is taxable. But my dear friend, certain incomes which are exclusively exempted under section 10, only those are not taxable. So here everything is taxable. When I talk about capital receipts, everything is not taxable. By default, capital receipts are not taxable. Only specified capital receipt should become taxable. And specified capital receipt means if it is a transfer of capital asset. Please understand, if it is a transfer of capital asset, then only it is a taxable. Okay. If there is a transfer of capital asset, then only it is taxable. Sir, okay, transfer of capital asset, we understood. We understood transfer of capital asset. Let's take example of your father. Your father had purchased one house property for 10 lakh rupees. Okay. Right now he is selling that particular property. Selling price of the property is 25 lakh rupees. How much is the capital gain? Please tell me. A father purchased a house property for 10 lakh. Right now he's selling for 25 lakh. How much is the capital gain? Please tell me very quickly. How much is the capital gain in this transaction? 15 lakh rupees. Very good. 15 lakh rupees. Give me the easy answer. Don't make it complicated. Another example. You have purchased one land. Okay. You have purchased one land. This land was having stone, trees, unwanted trees, kind of. Okay. It was not having proper shape. So you purchase one land for 20 lakh rupees. This is the cost of acquisition. Okay. Because this land was not proper, so you have incurred lot of earth moving expenditure. Earth moving means you clean the land, you have cut the unwanted trees, you have done the plantation properly. Okay. On border of your land, you have put the fencing around your land. So you did this. All these are capital expenditure. Capital expenditures are known as cost of improvements in this particular chapter. And for that you have spent 35 lakh. Okay. So you incur the expenses on acquisition 20 lakh, on improvement 35 lakh. Now you are searching for a buyer for this particular land. After 2-3 years, you are searching for a buyer, and you are having a target to sell this particular land for minimum 200 lakh. So full value of consideration means your selling price is a 200 lakh, but the broker who has brought you this customer, there is a broker, property broker, real estate broker. He is saying he will charge 2% commission. So full value of consideration 200 lakh. If my broker is charging 2% commission, my dear friend, so that is known as the transfer expenses at the rate of 2%. 2% of 200 lakh will be equal to 4 lakh. 200 lakh minus 4 lakh is equal to net consideration. Net consideration is 196 lakh. And from this, we have to subtract two items now. Cost of acquisition 20 lakh and cost of improvement 35 lakh is equal to capital gain, maybe long-term, short-term capital gain. How much? 196 minus 55 is equal to 141 lakh. Is it clear? This is how we compute capital gain. Is it clear? Please tell me. Hello? Is it clear? This is a proper format. Full value of consideration, selling price minus transfer expenses will give you net consideration. From net consideration, subtract two items. Cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, you will get a capital gain. If capital gain was meant to be this much, do you think it would have become one of the difficult chapter? If capital gain was only this much, is it difficult to understand whatever I said in first 5-10 minutes? Do you find it difficult?
No, sir.
Definitely no. This one's very easy. So if the transaction was supposed to be this much, then capital gain chapter would have been only 1 or 2 page chapter. In reality, capital gain chapter is more than 200 pages chapter. So why is it more than 200 pages chapter? Because this is not the only way to compute capital gain. There are so many permutations and combinations available in the law. So what if this land was not purchased by me? It was purchased by my father. So what if I did not purchase this land? It was given to me as a gift on my marriage day. So what if the land was actually having stamp duty value 80 lakh rupees, but I purchased only for 50 lakh? Sir, what if I purchased this particular land with cash? Sir, what if black money is involved in the transaction? So what if the property was purchased by my great grandfather 150 years back? Sir, what if this property was purchased before 2001, which is the base year? So what if this property is the long-term capital asset? Sir, what about changes in the prices of the economy due to inflation? So because you are putting a lot of what if, there are so many different situations created in the law. Therefore, for every exceptional situation, there is the exceptional law. And therefore, I say capital gain, ordinary capital gain is very easy. In fact, 90%, 95%, I should say, 95% of the practical cases, please tell me, 95% of the practical cases of computation of capital gain are very, very easy. You can compute it on literally calculator. You don't even need software for that. 95%. 5% chances are there that you may have an exceptional situation of capital gain in practical life where this particular whole chapter may become useful, like capital gain in case of amalgamation, capital gain in case of bonus share, capital gain in case of right shares. So whenever we talk about a specific situation, we are having a specific law for that. Because of this particular specific situation and specific law, a capital gain chapter has become bigger and bigger, and every day, every year, in every finance act, it is growing like anything. It is having so many things in this particular chapter. I am covering the basics of capital gain as a revision, and then in detail we are going to learn one chapter called business restructuring. In detail we are going to learn this particular chapter, business restructuring, immediately after completing capital gain chapter. So I wanted to actually teach you business restructuring, but directly if I start with business restructuring, you may not capture the you may not have the confidence to capture each and every concept of business restructuring. So let us quickly revise the capital gain chapter first, and then let us learn the business restructuring chapter in depth. Okay, so that's an agenda for the whole capital gain chapter. Basics, you know, charging section is section 45 subsection 1 says there are three conditions. There should be a transfer of a capital asset, and that capital asset transfer should have been taken place in the previous year to attract the chargeability in the current year. So what is the definition of capital asset? Capital asset means any kind of property. It can be any kind of property. Any kind of property means any kind of property. It can be movable property, immobile property, tangible, intangible, whether connected to business or not. That means whether it is a personal property or a business property, capital gain will arise. Please understand, for foreign institutional investor, these are the FII, foreign institutional investor. FII are having a lot of stake in Indian market. They are having a lot of stake in Indian share market, NSE and BSE. This foreign institutional investor, that is mutual fund from foreign country. Please understand, they are having crores of rupees investment in India, and every day there is one FII, say for example, every day one FII purchase shares worth rupees 500 crore and sells it around 550 crore every day. Okay, every day or frequently they are making 10 crore, 20 crore, 10 crore, 20 crore as a profit. You tell me, is it a capital gain for them or is it a PGBP for them? For FII, dealing in shares is a capital transaction or PGBP transaction? Logically, please tell me. Every day they are playing on your market and they are earning crores of rupees as a gain every day. Every day means obviously when market performs, they are investing. For you, from your understanding, for FII, their name itself is a FII, foreign institutional investor. Every day they are playing in our market, buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, and they are earning crores of rupees. Is it PGBP for them or capital gain for them? Please tell me. Only one student have replied, Amay, and Amay, your answer is right. Please tell me. Whenever a mutual fund or a banking company or an investment company deals in shares regularly, daily basis, should it be considered as a PGBP or a capital transaction? Sir, it should be PGBP, no? Obviously, it should be PGBP. But if you call it PGBP, my dear friend, it will be taxable at the rate of 4%. Whatever profit they are deriving from Indian share market will be taxable at the rate of 40%. Now tell me, as a FII, as a foreign institutional investor, will you be very happy to pay 40% plus surcharge plus education fees in India? Will you pay happily 40% plus surcharge plus cess? Will you be happy to pay this kind of tax? 40% plus surcharge? Obviously no. So they requested government of India, if you want our money to play in your market, then you have to give us some tax concession. And one of the tax concession demanded by them is whatever earning they are having from Indian market, whatever securities they are holding in Indian market should be considered as capital asset. In reality, it is not a capital asset, but it is a demand of FII that it should be considered as a capital asset, because if it is a long-term capital gain, then tax rate is only 10% from share market. And if it is a short-term capital gain, then tax rate is only 15%. So FII don't want to lose on 15% and 10% tax rates. Therefore, they said our shares must be considered specifically in the definition of the capital asset as securities held by FII is a capital asset, because they don't want to get assessed. And in PGBP chapter, they want a concessional rate of tax which is available in the capital gain chapter. That's the logic why we have included FII specifically in the definition of capital asset. Then you know from your childhood that certain assets are not capital asset. One of is stock in trade. Sir, if I'm a real estate developer and if I am selling the land and building, for me it's a PGBP income. If I am a Tanishq jeweler and I'm the one who is selling the jewelry, then obviously that particular sale of jewelry is not a capital transaction for me, it's a PGBP transaction. So if a stock in trade is sold, it can be in raw material form, WIP form, or finished goods form. It will be considered as PGBP income, not a capital gain income. Rural agriculture land in India is also not a capital asset, because we don't want to tax farmers in India, specifically rural area farmers, not farmers in urban area, because the land values in urban area like Mumbai, Kochi, Chennai, Bangalore is in crores. Mumbai farmers are taxable, city farmers are taxable, urban farmers are taxable, only rural farmers are not taxable. Gold deposit bond, special bearer bond, old government bond, this is also not taxable. Deposit certificate issued by gold under gold monetization scheme by RBI, that is also by RBI or by under the guidelines of RBI, not taxable. Movable personal property, any personal property. Tomorrow, if I sell these shirts, not taxable. Tomorrow, if I sell my water bottle on this Quikr, not taxable. If I sell my Calci, laptop, bike, car, refrigerator, furniture, shoes, bat, football, all these assets which are movable and personal are not taxable. Why, sir? Because usually when you sell personal asset, personal used asset, please understand, personal used movable asset, the price, selling price will be less than cost price. Usually selling price will be less than the cost price. Government is not going to get any profit out of that, any tax out of that, but you people can definitely create lot of losses, and then you people have taken the set off of those losses against the genuine capital gain. Therefore, government is saying any personal movable property should not be taxable. Sir, what about land and building, sir? What about house property? That is also personal. Beta, land and building is personal, but it is not movable. It is immovable, and therefore house property is a capital asset, because price of house property goes up. It doesn't go down, it goes up. Okay, sir, what about jewelry? My mother purchased jewelry when gold rate was 20,000 per 10 gram. Now the gold rate is 50,000 per 10 gram. Obviously, sir, gold rate has gone up. Then what should I do? If you sell, there will be a capital gain. So for personal movable asset, we are having few exclusions, and we call them DJSAAAP, DJSAP. Okay, DJSAP. Drawing, jewelry, sculptures, archaeological collection, any other artwork and painting, these are not capital asset. Okay, these are not capital asset. Some important points you need to remember. Asset used for personal purpose by the assessee like TV, car, mobile, watches are not capital asset. Therefore, capital gain is not applicable. Jewelry, painting, drawing are the capital asset. Therefore, on the sale, capital asset, capital gain will arise. Here usually loss happens, here usually gain happens. Therefore, government smartly have considered those assets which are taxable and have ignored those assets where possibility of loss is there. Okay, sir, gold utensils are also capital asset. It's not that jewelry means it has to be only necklace format, it has to be only in the bangles format. No, no, no. Even gold utensil, gold plate, gold bowl, gold spoon, whatever it is, gold utensils, silver bars, silver coins, please understand, were not to be considered as personal effect. Therefore, it will be taxable. Okay, silver utensils are common in some of the houses. Therefore, government says Okay, silver utensils are not capital gain because silver utensils are not that costly as compared to gold utensils. So there was a case law where it was considered silver utensils are very common, specifically in our middle class families also, in your house and in my house also. For pujas, for particular types of pujas, particular types of rituals, we people use silver utensils, isn't it? Car used for a business is treated as a capital asset, that is a depreciable asset that we will consider. Jewelry has a very wide meaning here. Jewelry means ornament made by gold, silver, platinum, or any other precious metal and stone. Okay. So even precious stones like diamond and all are also considered as capital asset. So what do you mean by rural land? Rural agriculture land. Just now we have discussed, no, rural agriculture land is not taxable. Rural agriculture land got negative definition. Rural agriculture land is a land which is not an urban agriculture land or which is not a specified agriculture land. So what do you mean by specified area? Specified area means area which is located in a municipality, in municipal or cantonment zone. That means area which is located in a local authority where the population is more than 10,000, where the population is more than 10,000. It has to be more than 10,000. If population is more than 10,000, then up to 2 kilometer of land, if this is the your municipal limits, and if population is up to 1 lakh, up to 2 kilometer, you can say land around your municipality is also urban land. If population is 1 lakh to 10 lakh, then up to 6 kilometer, you can say, up to 6 kilometer, you can say this is the urban land. And in most of the cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, population is in crore. Okay, in that case, up to 8 kilometer from your municipal limit can be considered as urban land. If this is the urban land, and any land if you sold here, any land if you sold here is a capital asset, and capital asset means capital gain will arise. But any land which is outside these limits is not a urban land, is a rural land. And if you are using the rural land for agriculture purpose, then capital gain will not arise. Okay, so this is what you should understand. So what do you mean by transfer? Transfer has very wide definition, my dear friend. Transfer is very big definition. Okay, transfer includes, and first of all, it is not an exhaustive definition, it's an inclusive definition, meaning thereby this is not only a situation of a transfer, it can have more situation even which are not defined here. Anytime if you transfer the ownership from the one person to another person by any means, if you are transferring the ownership of your capital asset, so this person is known as the transferor, the another person is known as the transferee. If any right in the property, any right in the asset along with possession is transferred by one person to another person for consideration, without consideration, for any reason, this can be considered as transfer of capital asset. Okay, transfer can be in a sale form, it can be in exchange form, it can be in relinquishment form. Relinquishment means giving up. Okay, one of the example of relinquishment is destruction of capital asset. Your capital asset got destroyed, relinquished, gone. Okay, due to flood, due to bomb blast, due to earthquake, property is gone. Still there will be a capital gain. We will discuss that. Extinguishment of any right in the capital asset. A best example of extinguishment is bonus shares. Okay, sorry, not bonus shares, buyback of shares. I wanted to say buyback of shares. Whenever shares are bought back by your company, those shares will be extinguished. That means your right in the company will be no longer available. Obviously, this is the transfer, because in buyback, a shareholder will be getting some money from the company. Buyback price will be given to the given by the company to the shareholder. Sir, usually transfer of the capital asset should be voluntary. No, it should be my property. It should be my willingness whether to sell the property or whether not to sell property. No, my dear friend. In transfer definition, even a compulsory acquisition, even snatching the property from you is also covered. And therefore, I say even a compulsory acquisition of the property is also a transfer. And if you receive any money on compulsory acquisition from government, obviously even that is taxable. Compulsory acquisition is also taxable. Sir, for some tax evasion practices, there are certain assessee who convert their capital asset into stock in trade, and then they sell as a stock in trade, because when they sell it as a stock in trade, the assessment will happen in PGBP chapter. And in PGBP chapter, we are having a lot of possibilities of claiming fake expenses and reducing the taxable profit. So conversion of capital asset into stock in trade is also considered as a transfer. This is one of the anti-tax evasion mechanism. Okay. Next one. Like this, property given in the part performance, that means you have not given the legal title, but you have given the whole possession, you have taken the money, your deed is not registered with government, still there will be transfer. Then becoming the member of the cooperative society, you did not become the owner of the building, but you became the member of the cooperative society, therefore you can use the house which is owned by the cooperative society. This is also transfer. Redemption of zero coupon bond, redemption of debenture, redemption of preference share, this is also transfer, etc., etc. Okay, this list is unlimited list, my dear friend. There is no limit to this list. It is an unlimited list because the definition of the transfer is inclusive. We should not be wasting our energy. Please understand, we should not be wasting our energy in learning what is capital asset. Okay, because what is capital asset? Any kind of property. Any kind of property is a capital asset. Any kind of property is a capital asset. This is very easy definition. So we have to invest our energy on learning what is not capital asset. And that I told you, stock in trade is not a capital asset. Rural agriculture land is not a capital asset. Personal movable assets other than DJ SAP, personal movable assets are not capital asset. Gold bond, special bearer bond, gold deposit certificate are not capital asset. So my dear friend, we have to invest more energy on learning what is not capital asset, because something which is not taxable as not capital asset is not taxable. Something which is not capital asset is not taxable. This is what you need to learn. Okay, something which is something, or what is the transfer? What is the transfer of capital asset? Again, we should not be investing much energy here, because the transfer is having inclusive definition. Sale, exchange, relinquishment, extinguishment of capital asset, compulsory acquisition of capital asset, conversion of capital asset into stock in trade, redemption of capital asset. So many things can be a transfer. We are not supposed to invest time here. What we should learn instead, and what we should by heart is, please understand, section 47. Section 47 talks about there are certain transactions. There are certain transactions which should not be treated as transfer. Okay, there are certain transactions which should not be treated as a transfer. So what is the transfer is not that important, but what is the not transfer is more important, because what is the not transfer is not taxable. What is not transfer is not taxable. And the chapter that I was referring to you, business restructuring has originated from transactions which are not taxable. Examples: amalgamation is not taxable, demerger is not taxable, exchange of shares is not taxable, conversion of debenture into equity share is not taxable. So what is not taxable is more important, my dear friends. Therefore, we are going to learn what is not taxable in detail in the next lecture. If you are having, in next lecture means in the next session, now the session is getting over. So if you are having any doubt, please ask. I'm having 3 minutes for whatever I have discussed so far. Okay. After that, we will be starting section 47. In next lecture, we are starting the 47. If you are having doubt, please ask.